What's up, Pirates? Wraith here with Awaken TCG, and today we have a very special video. It is the first week, it is the first weekend release of OP08, and so we have a couple of tournaments to, go over, look at, see what the meta is looking like. Again, special shout out to OP08. His Twitter will be down in the links down below. He always makes these amazing graphics for us to have this good information, and it looks lovely. So, for starters, the big standout, obviously, CP0 Lucci, 13, right? The next best is RP Law at 8, right below it. So, this is something unprecedented. I would not have put this deck to be at the top coming out of day one, right? 13 is an insane amount of wins. We have RP Law close first here on second place with only 8 wins, and then a big drop off, half of those, Anel and Black Yellow Luffy at 4, right? So, kind of, getting a good idea of where things are going. We have one Moria, we have one Pudding, one Katakuri, one Bonnie, one Carrot, and then 2 Yamato on day one. So, I mean, it's still a good variety of colors, right? We have RP Law, we have black, we have yellow, we have green squeezing in there, Yamato as well. Let's go ahead and check out the next graphic, actually. So, we have day 2, which I believe this is Sunday, right? So, day 1 on Saturday we had CP0 Lucci with a overwhelmingly number 1 spot, and for day 2 it just flipped on its head, right? We have RP Law at 15, which if we go back real quick, CP0 Lucci only had 13, right? So it is 2 more than that, and then RP Law on the first day had 8, comparable to Lucci's 7 on day 2. So they basically swap places, right? I don't know if, after day 1, the RP Laws, figured something out. Let's see where Arnell's at. So Arnell, day 1 was at 4. Day 2, Arnell's at 6. So still looking like the best yellow deck by far. Luffy and Bonnie at 4 wins for that day 2. Sitting, I think, in a pretty comfortable tier 2 spot. I would, from these, first 2 data points that we have of stats, I would put RP Law and I would put Lucci probably in tier 1 alone. Just off the numbers, right? I haven't seen any of the matches. Obviously, it's still week 1, right? So it's very, very hard to tell what exactly is going to be insane or not. My bad for flipping through the slides there. But, on the other hand, we have 2 Katakuris, we have 2 Yamatos. So Katakuri still having a small portion, right? Maybe there's a potential comeback for better lists to come out with all the Big Mom cards and all the Big Mom support that Yellow might be getting. So, it's interesting to see Katakuri back into the meta after OP07, just with RP Law running rampant and not being, a contender at all. So, I mean, the matchup probably is even worse now in OP08, but, if you dodge the matchup, it's possible. We have 1 Boa and then 1 Zoro at the very, very bottom. We do have some other stats to go over. So there was a couple of championship series tournaments. So this one in particular here is the Philippines GAO. I'm not sure what the acronym is or what that stands for. But this was OP08. It was a 248 players total. This was our top 16 breakdown. We had 4 RP Law. We had 3 Katakuri, 2 Lucci, 2 Bonnie, 2 Anel, 1 Calgara. Very surprising there. Calgara looking very, very sharp in this top 16. We have 1 Black Yellow Luffy and 1 Green Yellow Yamato. So this tournament, as you can see on the bottom, it says the tournament was not completed and Top Cut was postponed at a later date. So this one in particular here, this is our top 16. They were going to do that Top Cut at a later date because obviously it says there it was postponed. But we have a Calgara in the top 16. We have 3 Katas in the top 16. Like, this is insane. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 leaders in the top 16. 8 different leaders in the top 16, which is, I think, very, very healthy. We have some more images to go over here. Okay, so this here, there was a Singapore, what is that word called? GAO. Kind of like a championship series. This was the list that got top 8 actually for the Singapore championship series tournament. We have 4 Calgara, we have 4 Norland, 4 Wiper. These are the um, token Calgara cards that you need. The 1-drop event, we have obviously 4 upper yard. You're kind of forced to run it. We have Holy, Elthors to play defensively. Obviously, Frankie, a 1-of, is nice tech in this deck. We have 4 Satori's being that 2K body, that's searchable off Shura, and a nice little trigger there. We have Rush Ace for pressure, and then Wiper being our second to biggest body behind the Calgara that is a vanilla, which is still nasty to drop, right? Especially like this Holy combo. If you have it, let's say you're on 5 Dawn, attach 1 to leader, you swing, you play this 5/6 body, you play this 5/7 body, and guess what? You have 4 Dawn left for the Then you go Holy. On your 6 Dawn turn, you're dropping 3 bodies, which means on your 4 Dawn turn, you could have dropped another 2. Technically, I mean, that's probably like perfect curve to swarming a board. But this list looks very, very good. It is, super sharp. Calgara being one of those decks that can, really flood board real quick, especially with a list like this. 3 Thor to be on the defensive end, 1 Amaru, just in case to go for those sneaky wins. But I mean, this list is very there's no really big tricks to it, right? You're just dropping an extra body on the board and hoping your opponent can't deal with it. Playing strong fundamentals on this deck is going to make it honestly a very, very good deck. It's kind of like, it reminds me kind of like Uta, right? Uta doesn't have anything flashy, anything special, but at the end of the day, if you have insane fundamentals and you draw good, it could be a good deck that can actually go crazy. So Calgara deck list here for anybody that wants it. Next up, we're going to be looking at RP Law. So same tournament, it was the Singapore Championship Series. This RP Law list actually took the event. So we have to highlight Black Maria. Black Maria is insane. This card is broken. So Black Maria, what it allows it to do, if you're on 3-4 Dawn, whatever it is, you get that 5 Dawn with Black Maria. You can play Trafalgar Law. You can use the effect, Dawn -1, doesn't matter. You can then use a leader effect, spin a unit, -3, so now you're -4 for the turn, but that doesn't matter. You have Black Maria. This is free Dawn you're getting. It's free rested Dawn that you can just Dawn minus. So it basically means Trafalgar Law is free to use. Queen ability is free to use. Any Dawn minus effect, leader ability is free to use with this on board. Especially if you're going up against a deck that can't really handle this without, being super expensive and wasting your whole turn, which in turn is still very good for you. Those decks will just lose. If you can't clear this Black Maria, if it sticks an extra turn, the RP Law just gets so much value. I don't see a way out, even if it sticks 1 turn and the RP Law has a decent draw. This deck already is insane. Adding 4 Black Maria, meaning all your Dawn minuses are always free, make it even more insane, right? So crazy, crazy card. You can play Black Maria on 3, use the effect. Oh, guess what? You can Dawn minus for free. You're still going to where your opponent's at. It's nasty, right? So again, super, super crazy card. We have to pay very, very close attention to this card here. I think it can be a menacing card that might have to get looked at. Obviously, it has very, very good benefits for purple decks. And honestly, if you ever use a card like, let's say, Kaido, you Dawn -6, you swing at your board, do your turn, whatever, then you Black Maria effect, you just gained all your Dawn back. It's nasty. So definitely you're going to have to keep a close eye. But as far as the rest of the list goes, you're running the pudding, get the extra Dawn minus. To ramp 1, right, is basically like a mini Captain Kid effect. We have 8 Raise Max Gordon combos, right? So 8 reducers, the Otamas. Very basic list with a lot of good uses. No more Ains in this deck, which obviously you don't need because you run 4 Black Marias, so that extra ramp and the extra brick is not needed. You can run a 2K that does the same thing. So somehow this deck got even better. I think it's still going to be the best deck in format 408, if I'm not mistaken. If no one can find an answer to this Black Maria, I think this deck is going to continue to run rampant, and Black Maria has put this leader in a position where it's going to get looked at for a potential ban. So if that ever happens, do not be surprised. This deck is insane. But with that being said, we can go ahead and look at one final list here. We have Lucci again. So if we go back to the first image, we have Lucci at 13 flagship wins, right? So That is very insane. Um, those are stats for a tier 1 deck, right? Those are 100% stats for a tier 1 deck. And so we have a list here very similar to what we were running in OP07, but now we have Jack. Jack is a menacing card here. I think just off the passive alone, it is an 11 cost. So, I mean, good luck removing it. Obviously, RP Lock can bottom it. But besides that, this card is basically never getting KO'd at 11 cost, right? You have to use way too much resources. So it's basically a free body on the board. It's nasty, very nasty. You got to run your Morias. That card is still insane value, right? Sabos. So a very, very basic list, but it has those jacks, right? Those jacks are what carries this deck, I think, in my opinion. We have one Kaido tech card, two Brooks. Brooks are always very menacing in certain small windows. If your opponent does not respect it, could end very bad for them. But for the most part, I like this list. Lucci is going to be a very fun deck. I think Jim is going to be on Lucci, so I'm going to have a lot of good practice into it, which is good because I'm going to need it. I'm going to be on Bonnie for 07, so this is going to be one of those decks that I might actually have to practice a lot to try to get good at. And then that is going to be the last list we're going to go over here. Appreciate you guys for, listening to me yap. OP08 is on the horizon for the East. They're just getting right into it. It's week 1. For us over here in the West, we still have about 3 weeks before the official release. Or 3.5 weeks before the official release. We have 2 online tournaments coming up and then 1 offline at Texas. And then I think 1 more online after that. So 4 tournaments. And then we get OP07, completely new meta. Unfortunately, there's not many tournaments in July. Maybe store tournaments, but besides that, there's no like online. There's no offline tournaments as far as the West goes over here. Maybe in other countries. I haven't actually checked, but it's going to be a fun month because we're going to be able to lock in on our Patreon, on our content, really grind and stream and do all that good stuff. But for now, that is going to be it for this video. Stay tuned. I am going to literally after this video goes up, I'm going to finish up my article for my Patreon, and it is going to be a free article for everybody. It's going to be my tournament report. I'm going to have a lot of strong opinions on Black Yellow Luffy. This weekend did not go as planned. You can't always get the good bracket luck. But with that being said, like this video, comment down below what you're going to play in OP08 or what you think is interesting about OP08. If there's any stats that I've went over that look crazy, let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to my Patreon. I'm going to ramp up that content as well. But with that being said, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.